I think before we even talk about hiring, this is now a growing trend that a lot of entrepreneurs are like going solo, and I think it needs to be discussed, right? Why do you even want to get a co-founder? I mean, do you guys have a specific reason on why you want a co-founder? Let's start with Harish. Harish, why do you think you would want a co-founder?
Everything cannot be done alone, and certain things we are not cut out exclusively, so we might need support system.
Okay,
But
but if I give you, if in case you are able to raise funds, can you not hire people to do that job for you?
the ownership is lost if you just have employees who are doing transactional work.
Okay.
Sometimes it is beyond that to bring out a brainchild or an idea to reality. You need people who work beyond any kind of regular employment.
Okay.
Probably.
Hmm. Got it. Fair enough, man. That's a very valid point. Lishma, why do you think you need a co-founder?
I think when it's one person, your opinions and ideas are limited to one particular direction, and when there's two people, you have a diversity in opinions and ideas.
What if you get an advisor who you can also give a certain equity so that they have the ownership and I mean, they can probably help you with more opinions. No.
Could be. But then I think the idea of co-founder is when you're working together, you have a diversity in ideas, personal opinion. But yeah,
Okay. Okay. The reason why, I mean, of course, let's discuss both pros and cons. So I think one of the pros have been mentioned by Harish that you have somebody who has a skin in the game, so naturally they would put in the efforts, kind of helps you with delegation of work, kinds of help you in getting more opinions, which is what Lishma shared. But it's not just limited to that, right? And I'll give you one very valid reason of why you should actually have a co-founder, which is that fundraising becomes abnormally difficult if you don't have a co-founder. Okay. And the reason is very simple and very obvious. Let's assume that Lishma is running a startup and she's a solopreneur. And let's assume she knows everything. She's smart, she has very good knowledge. But now something happens to Lishma. Okay. She's sick. She's unable to work for 2 months. All of a sudden, nobody else would have the accountability to make sure that things are going in the right direction. That's a red flag. That's a danger sign. And what if the person who is the founder ends up passing away? That can happen. Very rare, but can it not happen? It can. Now, someone might say that, oh, even if the founder has died, there could be clauses through which you can transfer the equity and all of that. That is true. But investors don't invest in ideas, they invest in people, especially at an early stage. Right. So whatever capital I have raised or I raised when Metvy was getting started, we had zero revenue when we raised our first incubation money, right? Whatever it was, 13 lakh rupees. That was our first funding. So when we raised that, we did not have anything that we were doing. After that, when we raised, a little bit more money, that was also, I mean, we were not doing shitloads of money. We were doing about 1.5 lakhs of monthly revenue, right? Very less. A lot of people earn that much amount of money in a monthly basis after they graduate, right? So they're not looking at these numbers. They're not like, oh, 1.5 lakh rupees. Wow, we would want to invest in this startup. It's not happening like that. Also, there are always more people who are working on the exact same idea. So it's always like backing the horses to run the race. And the horses are the founders in this particular case. If the founder dies, then there is no race, right? Or if one of the founders is sick and there is no other founder, then who takes up the responsibility? So that's why it becomes harder to raise funds when you are a solopreneur. Having said that, there are multiple examples of entrepreneurs who've been able to build unicorn startups while going solo. Examples: Ritesh Agarwal, Oh Your Rooms, right? He was very young also, so it was not that he had a lot of experience. He raised a 30 lakh rupees funding round. Like we raised 13, he raised 30. Now where is he? And he was a solopreneur. He never had a co-founder. Right? You have Vijay Shekhar Sharma, Paytm, right? And he had a lot of experience. He had already been running 197 communication for over 10 years. before Paytm happened, right? So the idea is that if you're today, if we look at Kunal Shah, for Cred, there is no co-founder. He's the only founder of Cred, but he's able to raise a lot of funds. So the thing is that when it comes to solopreneurs, it's not that it's a model that is bound to fail. There are hundreds of very, very good examples where the founders have gone solo and have built very, very profitable large companies. So it's not impossible. But when you are going solo and it is also your first venture, then it's very hard, because for somebody like Kunal Shah, he's been there, done that. He built free charge, he sold it off, made a lot of money, made a lot of money for his investors also. The only people who lost money were the people who acquired free charge, right? Nobody else lost the money. So now he knows what is required to raise funds, what is required to scale up, what is required to kind of build a successful company. He has the ingredients, he has the experience, he has the networks, which an early stage entrepreneur does not have, right? So you are going through a physical, emotional, mental, and a professional journey for the very first time. And trust me, being a founder is an experience all over, in totality. So you would be experiencing the same things that most of the founders do in their very first years for the first time. So you don't know how to navigate through them. And this added responsibility of looking after everything yourself, figuring out everything yourself with nobody else having a significant amount of skin in the game, makes your life difficult, right? So hence I would suggest that you get the co-founders, because while you will have to give away significant chunk of your equity, always remember this one thing: 1% of something is always more than 100% of nothing.